friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to show you how to make the easiest baby booties you have ever made. So I am doing a remake of my most popular video on my channel. This video has almost 1 million views on it. I'll link it up here in case you're interested. But it's basically the most simple baby booty pattern. This is for about a 3 to 6 month age range. It takes about 30 minutes to complete, and I think it's pretty beginner friendly. The only stitches you're going to need for this one is the single crochet. We're going to do a few slip stitches, we're going to do a little bit of sewing, but it's worked flat and it's super easy. So if you want to make these baby booties with me, let me tell you what you're going to need. First, you're going to need some yarn. I'm going to be using this number 4 weight soft purple acrylic for my baby booties. You're also going to need a crochet hook. I'm going to be using a 4mm hook today. You'll also need some scissors, as well as a yarn needle to weave in your ends. If you've got one, you could also use a measuring tape, but you can use a ruler or whatever you've got around that has some form of measuring on it. So gather your supplies and let's jump in. Before we completely jump into this tutorial though, I just want you to see these flowers. I grew them and they're so pretty and they're so, look at how dainty that Cosmo is. And this beautiful sort of periwinkle scabiosa, the salmon scabiosa, I'm fully obsessed. We're in the full swing of summer here right now and the flowers look glorious. Okay. Now let's jump into the tutorial. So I have changed my mind. I want to do it in this darker purple because look at how cute this looks. Okay, let's get started. We're going to begin with a slip knot. This is how I like to do my slip knots for starting a project. Then from here, we're going to chain 29. So yarn over, pull through 1, 2, 3, 4, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29. And there's our initial chain. From here, we're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. 1, 2, we'll insert the hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and pull through both loops. That is a single crochet. And we'll single crochet all the way across this first row. At the end of the first row, you will have 28 stitches in the row. One more time, we're gonna do insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. And I'll just zoom through the rest of the row because it's just repeating that single crochet all the way across, and I'll meet you at the end of the row to show you what we're going to do next. Here I am coming up to the end of that first row. I've got 2 chain stitches left here, so I'll do a single crochet in the second last chain, and now here in the last chain, 1 more single crochet, and at the end of the row we chain 1 and turn the work over. And now we have our first row, again with 28 stitches in it. Now for the second row, we're going to insert the hook into that first stitch available. Ignore the chain 1, that's just a turning chain. If you pull your work apart like this, or if you look at it from the top, the first V here, this first space, that's where we're going to insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. Same thing, next stitch. You'll see there's 2 loops on the hook here. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And that is a single crochet again. We are going to single crochet all the way across this row. And at the end of this row, we're going to chain 1 and turn again. For this next part, it's going to be a repeat of this row all the way up to row number 9. We're going to do 9 rows total of single crochet across with 28 stitches in the row. So from here on out, I'm going to zoom through this first set of rows all the way up to row number 9, and I'll meet you back here when I'm finishing up row number 9 to show you what it looks like, what the measurement is, and what we're going to do next. Here I am coming up to the end of that 9th row. At the end of the row, I'm going to show you how we're going to secure off the project. So I have one more stitch there, and then you can see we're right at the end of the row. I'll put my last single crochet in, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through. And I'm going to pull through a little bit of a tail, cut the yarn, pull that all the way through, and now we can weave this end in. This is the first section of our booty. This first section is about 7.5 inches long and about 2.25 inches tall. This section is going to be the toe and foot portion, not the ankle portion. This is going to be actually the part that's around baby's foot, and now we're going to work up the folded over cuff area. So to do that, we're going to start by turning our work. We have our tails both coming out of the left side. We want to attach our yarn again with both tails on the right hand side. Here is where I'm going to zoom you in for the next step. So the next step is to count 7 stitches in on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to insert my hook at that 7th stitch, and I'm going to just pull a piece of yarn through it, just a spare piece. If you have a stitch marker, use that, but I forgot to take mine out, so we're not using those. So just mark that 7th stitch, and then from the other side, we're going to mark the 7th stitch in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to insert my hook, and I'm going to take another little tail piece, and I'm going to just tie that off so that I know where to stop. Now I'm going to get my working yarn, and I'm going to go to that 7th stitch, the stitch after it, so the 8th stitch. We're going to insert the hook and then yarn over with our working yarn and pull that loop through, just like that. Then chain 1 with both pieces, the tail and the working yarn. See, my chain 1's thick. Then drop the tail, and into the same stitch that I just did that chain 1 out of, I'm going to do a single crochet. So insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. And then I'm going to single crochet across, but I'm going to stop working when I hit that 2nd stitch marker. So let's count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So if you'll remember, we started with 28 stitches. We removed 7 from one side and 7 from the other. So we removed 14 stitches. 28 minus 14 is 14, so we have 14 stitches on this new shorter row. I've just made it to that stitch marker. I'm not going to work into the stitch markered stitch, just the one before it. At the end of that row, I'll chain 1 and turn. Then in that 1st stitch, single crochet, and single crochet across. So this is row number 10 was the one we just did. Now we're on row number 11. Row number 11, we're gonna single crochet across. At the end of the row, we will chain 1 and turn. Here I am at the end of row number 11. I just want you to see where that chain 1 and the single crochet are in the same stitch here. You can see the top looks like a regular single crochet, so you know where to put your hook. So see, there's the V, there's the V. So we insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then in that last stitch, the exact same thing, and chain 1 and turn. Then for rows number 12, 13, 14, and 15, we're just going to do single crochet across on this new shorter row. Now, since it's just single crochets across for the next few rows, for rows number 12, 13, 14, and 15, I'm just going to zoom through them, do my single crochets, chain 1 and turn, single crochet, chain 1 and turn, and I will see you at the end of row number 15 to show you what we're going to do next and how we're going to put this baby booty together. Here I am at the end of that 15th row. I'm just going to put my last single crochet in right here, insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. Then again, I'll chain one, pull that through. And here at this end, I want to leave a nice long tail. This is the piece I'm going to be using to sew together the booty. So I'm probably going to do, I don't know, maybe even like 20 inches. I don't think I'll need that much, but so I will pull that loop through and draw it tight, and that will be our sewing thread. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out those stitch markers and I'm going to weave in the ends except for this last end. So I'll weave this end in here, and if you had an end from where you reconnected the yarn, you can weave it in there as well. And then I'll meet you back here to show you how we're going to stitch it together. By the way, at this point, that middle section is about 4 inches and it's about 1 inch tall. So that's the overall measurements. Now is when the magic happens. We're gonna fold this shape over. I say it looks like an upside down T, and we're gonna fold it over so that it looks like an L. See, L. So that is going to be the shape of our booty. Let me zoom you in a little bit so I can show you how we're going to get this yarn tail down here. First, I'm going to thread up my yarn needle, and then I'm going to take the end and I'm going to just pass it down through that first stitch of the first row, down through the first stitch of the second, down through the third, fourth, until I get to that corner stitch. Essentially just weaving that end up and down through the stitches until I get to that corner, and then I'll just draw that yarn needle through. Straighten it out a little bit, and there we go. Now with the yarn tail coming out of that corner, I'm going to insert the yarn needle into the corner of the other side. So that's right here. I'm gonna just insert the needle through that, and that's gonna connect that top portion together, not structurally, just to get us in line. And then I'm going to go around, so I'm going to come in front of the booty again, insert the needle down through both corners again, and then one additional time, a third time, the same way, right into that corner stitch. So that's going to keep it from kind of pulling down that area we weaved through. All right, now for this next part, we're going to be doing blanket stitches. So here you want to line up your pieces so that the stitches match up right one on top of the other. Then the yarn needle comes up through the work, through the first stitch on the back piece, up through the work, through the first stitch on the front piece, then pull the needle through, and when there's a little loop left behind like this, pass the needle back down through that loop. This is going to create a blanket stitch. You can pull that nice and tight. Then into the next stitch, insert the needle up through the work, through the next stitch on the front piece, up through the work, pull it through. When there's a little loop left behind, pass the needle down through that loop and pull it tightly closed. Next stitch up through the work on the front piece, then you pass it down through that loop. There's a little quicker way that I do it at this point, which is I'll put the needle through the stitches like this, and then I'll wrap that tail around the needle. This is basically skipping the step of putting it down through the loop, because when I pull the loop closed, you can see my needle's already down through it. It's just a slightly quicker way. So I'm going to work my way to the toe, doing these blanket stitches. And here I am at the last stitch. So at that corner of the toe, this is the front corner of the toe, I'll put one last blanket stitch in, and then I'm going to rotate my work so that I can put together the front side of the booty. Here is that open section. So now we're working down this front section. So I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did down this one, but instead of doing in each stitch, we're doing it in each row. So if we hold it upright, you can see, so it's hard to identify those stitches, but what we can do is just put it into the first stitch. You can see right here, that's the first stitch of the row, and pull it nice and tight. And then we'll do the same thing into the first stitch of the second row right here, and then right here, and then into the third row, first stitch on the front and back piece right there. All right, I've made it to the bottom of the work, and now I'm just going to do my last blanket stitch through the first stitch of that bottom row, just like that. And then again, I'm going to turn my work so that I can work along the bottom edge of the booty. And in this section, again, I can line up the stitches. I just need to put one blanket stitch through the first stitch of the back piece and the first stitch of the front piece, and then pass that needle down through the loop. And we're just going to match up the stitches all the way across until we get to the back heel of the booty. All right, here I am at the last stitch. It's actually a stitch, 2 stitches, but it's like folded in half. I'm gonna insert my yarn needle down through that last stitch, pull it through, and then the loop left behind. I'll pass my needle down through that and pull it really nice and tight. And now I'm gonna weave this end. I don't have to be really particular about it because this is gonna be on the inside. So I'll just pull the needle through that same seam of stitches and get close to the toe again. And then I'll just pull it through, and that will be that for weaving in the end. Now I can trim the yarn and we can get our first look at this baby booty. So this is the opening, then we've got our toes, we've got the heel. So right now it's flat, it looks not like it's gonna hold shape or fit a baby, but let's turn it inside out. All right, here is that booty all turned out. We can fold the cuff over, and if you look at it like a flat shape, it does not look like a booty, but we have to press it flat like this. So press the booty out, and those seams, they all just sort of mush together, and it turns into the perfect little booty shape. Look at this. Oh! Okay, so at this point, the booty is very cute. It's already like adorable, but we need a drawstring. It needs a drawstring so that you can make sure it stays on baby's foot, and also because a drawstring means you can tie a little bow, which is just so cute. For this drawstring, we are going to do the easiest thing ever. We're going to do a slip stitch, then we are going to just chain 60. So 1, 2, 43, 44, 55, 56, 59, and 60. Now I'm gonna cut my yarn here and pull that through. And this chain, let me just measure it for you. This chain is about 14 inches long when I have it stretched out. So you can weave in your end, or what I like to do is tie a little knot and then pull the knot down right to where the tail of the yarn comes out, like as close as you can get it for that first knot, just like that. And then you can cut your yarn tail here, really nice and short, and it's nice and secure because you've got that knot on the end. I'm not gonna knot the other end, and that is because we are going to use this tail to weave the tie into the booty. So flip up the cuff section, flip that up so that we're looking at like a stocking shape again, and thread up your yarn needle. I'm gonna switch to a plastic one here because I don't need to catch any fibers by accident. So where your new rows begin, that would be right here. You can see these are the rows that stick up. This area, this space here between those rows is going to be where we weave our little tie in so that it's coming out right at that corner section where we would want a tie to come out. So we're going to start by inserting down into the work right at that center stitch. You can see there's a center stitch on both sides, one right here and one right here. We're going to start going down right at that one right there. Then we'll come up through the next stitch, go down through the next stitch, up through the next stitch, down through the next stitch, up and down. And then my needle I'll pull through, and I won't pull it all the way through. I'll leave a little bit out. And then again, down through the next stitch, up through the next, down through the next, up, down. And then you're gonna come up on the stitch opposite that tail. I'll pull that through, and now that it's pulled through, I can do the knot on the other side. So I'll do that right now. Just tie a basic knot, but pull it right down so that that yarn tail is secured, just like that. Then I can cut the yarn tail. And from here, we're going to make that drawstring even in length on both sides. Just negotiate it around. There we go. And then we can pull that drawstring so that it's a nice loose fit. Fold the cuff over again. And now we can tie our little bow on our booty. Are you kidding me? Stop it. Look at these little booties. Oh, I forgot how adorable this pattern is. It makes sense why this is my most viewed video. We're coming close to hitting 1 million views on this video, and you know what? I see why. The pattern for it is so cute. Check out these adorable baby booties. They were so easy. I think the whole thing took me 30 minutes and I was filming. You could knock a couple of pairs of these out, and what an adorable gift to make for a new baby arrival. So they are the measurement for about a 3 to 6 month old. They're about 3 inches long. Lots of room for baby's feet, lots of room for baby's toes. You see they spread out real nice, and then it tapers up to get around the ankle. If you wanted to, you could create stripes or do the cuff area in another color. Like imagine if you did this in a dark gray and that in white, and then you could do like the bow in pink. It could be so cute. I like it all one color, but you do you. If you want to watch the original tutorial and see how my videos have changed over the years, check that out up here. But I really hope you give this baby booty tutorial a try. They are super sweet, super easy, and definitely beginner friendly. All of the stitches I walked through nice and slow in the tutorial, but if you want a little extra information, check up here. I'll link some videos that will help you out. And that's it. The easiest baby booties you will ever make. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Oh, hello. If you needed a reason, here's Mr. Toby, Mr. Tobias. Anyways, leave a thumbs up if you liked the video. I would really appreciate it. It helps the algorithm and it gets the channel out and about to more people who might be interested in this sort of content. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and come back every Tuesday for crochet tutorials and other craft stuff. And come back on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 9 a.m. until 12 p.m. for our live stream where we hang out with all of the pets. We make a lot of crochet projects and we generally just chat and build community there. So if that sounds fun, definitely join us Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time.